So right now, if you go to the standings in the NBA, in the Eastern Conference, you see that there's one team that kind of sticks out versus everybody else, and that would be the Orlando Magic. At 12-5, they're the second seed in the conference, sporting one of, if not the best defense in the NBA and a pretty good offense. The Orlando Magic have fired out to an amazing start this season and are shocking a lot of NBA fans. But if you've been following this team for the past couple years, you wouldn't really be surprised by this start, especially since they started the season healthy. So, how do they do this? How did a team that seems like they're always stuck in the revolving door of drafting stars and then them leaving for some reason finally did it again, drafted another star, and looks like they're on the up and up again? And why does it feel like this time seems a little bit different? Let's get into it. Before we get started, this team being this good is not that surprising. Like last season, they were 5-20 to start the year because Markelle was out, and they were a playoff team for the rest of the year, going basically over 500 for the rest of the year after that 5-20 start. And that's after Markelle got healthy, and that was still with Wendell and Jaylen Suggs being in and out of the lineup. Like this team was for real last year. They could have made the playoffs last year if they were healthy for the full season. So if they're healthy this year, this start really isn't that surprising. So to talk about the Orlando Magic's success this season, we have to talk about it on multiple layers, from the top of Jamal Mosley being the perfect hire in 2021 to the layers below that, like Paolo Banchero's efficiency going up this season, like them being a number 2 defense in the NBA on multiple levels, and how they're still producing at a top half of the league offense, even though they're still one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA. Not to mention a amazing bench and just a lot of miscellaneous things that I think forced them to really tighten up what's really on the team right now. So let's get into it. I think in the NBA, there's definitely coaches that specialize in specific levels of rebuilding that you'd want on your roster. Like Steve Kerr is a coach that you'd want to be coaching a contending team because he's best stocking and fitting with those young guys. And then you have guys like Doc Rivers, that teams that are definitely, I guess, under the radar or not really having as much talent as people think they do. He's great at bringing out those talents, getting the max out of those guys. And then you have guys that are really good at speaking to young teams and coaching those up. I think Jamal Mosley is one of those coaches that's very good at bringing fire into a young team. And a defensive-minded coach that preaches hustle into his teams is definitely what the Orlando Magic definitely needed in 2021 to create a culture for this team that players can buy into, instead of, creating a place that's very, I guess, missing structure like early Houston Rockets before this year with Ime Udoka. And I think he's definitely been the perfect coach, preaching defense for this team, preaching hustle. And I think having players like Jaylen Suggs on the roster definitely helps breed that, since he also breeds that completely also. And right now, he's got this team playing absolutely amazing. They're one of the best when it comes to any hustle stats, from deflections, loose ball recoveries, charges taken. They are one of the just most hardest playing teams in the NBA, and is definitely behind that man right there. But what comes with playing hard is being under control and being a great defense. And while this team also does foul a little bit too much, it comes with playing hard. But the Orlando Magic are a top 2 defense in the NBA right now. They are doing it by forcing opponents into only 84.5 shots per 100 possessions this season, and that will rank second lowest in the past 10 years. They're doing it by forcing opponents to a lot of turnovers, denying opponents offensive rebounds, and pushing it in transition. Their offenses also slow themselves, so they're taking shots deeper into the shot clock, but they're also playing defense in a specific way that helps them push opponents into taking shots deeper into the shot clock. So overall, this team is doing a perfect job to really bottle up teams and really keep them out of rhythm for majority of the games, and not really allowing teams to run up and down and get in transition that much. They are first in forced turnovers right now. They are second in opponent second chance points, and they are 7th in opponent shots within the last 15 seconds of the shot clock. That is just some crazy good defense right now, and it's by some pretty good rim protection behind there. Goga Bitadze has been a very, very good revelation for this team this season. Really wasn't expecting him to be part of I guess the overall what makes his team great, but he's giving them a nice 20 minutes a night. And that's because Wendell has been hurt this season, but that's also, I think, something that really helped this team get things together. Well, overall, that's been the reason why they've been so great on the defensive end. That's also because they have great point of attack defense. I think some of the best forward depth and point of attack defense from that position with Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jonathan Isaac. They also have some great guard defense in Jaylen Suggs and Anthony Black, and even Markelle Fultz when he is healthy is a also great defender. and they have a lot of great defenders coming off the paint, and they overall just play really good team defense. So that's part of the reason just why this defense is as great as it is. But what surprised me is that this team is still top half the league offensively, even with such a poor start to the season shooting the ball and losing, I think, one of their better offensive players in Wendell Carter Jr. early in the season to injury. But so far, they've been holding up very, very well, even with Franz Wagner being one of their better offensive players having a slow start to the season. They're averaging 58.3 points per game in their 7-game winning streak, and that ranks top 5 in the NBA in that span of time. They rank the lowest amount of shots in the mid-range, so they've basically cut down their shot profile to layups, free throws, and hopefully open threes. Some of them are contested. And they're doing very well in all those areas. They're number 1 in free throw attempts in the NBA, and they're 12th on 3-point shots off paint touches that are normally open. And their bench is also, I think, top 5 in the NBA, and that's behind Cole Anthony and Mo Wagner being absolutely amazing. We'll get into them a little bit later. But yes, their offense is definitely living off the amazing scheme that Jamal Mosley putting of them being able to constantly cut. Mo Wagner and Franz Wagner are amazing cutters, having great pick and roll play by their guards and Jaylen Suggs, who's been a far better decision maker this season, and Paolo Banchero that's gotten better in that area too to make those decisions. And Goga Batadze also has been a great connector in those areas or passing on the roll. But overall, this team's offense seems to only be able to go up, because it seems like a very cohesive offense. They don't seem really out of area. It's just that the shots aren't going down from 3, and I think once guys do find a way to get better from there, or they do find ways to incorporate more shooters, or eventually find some more shooters to play on this team, it opens up this offense so much more. But yes, I really do love this team, this offense so far. And then you look at some miscellaneous stuff, like the passion from Jaylen Suggs that seems to just reverberate through the entire team and his teammates, and it's just so infectious. The absolute extreme amount of back cutting and how good they are, and they're 25th ranked in assists this season, but they're also 1 in potential assists, and it's because a lot of those paint touches from back cuts end up in spray out open threes. The shots just aren't going down right now, and if those shots do start going down, this offense opens up so much more. I think them having to make a decision between who their 3 to 4 guards that they're going to be on this roster is definitely a positive. I do think they're going to have to make a choice between Markel Anthony, Black, Jaylen Suggs, and Cole Anthony. You can keep 3 of them if you want to, but you have to make a decision in letting 1 go, because I think one of them is keeping a roster spot for a guy that could definitely be useful to this roster as a shooter. You don't need that many ball handlers on the roster as of right now, and I think Oklahoma City is one team that's definitely benefited from being forced to make those decisions, and they've sat Aaron Wiggins, they've sat Pokuševski, they sat Trey Mann. Ousmane Dieng doesn't get too many minutes on that team right now. They pick their core, and it's working out very well for them. It's working out well for the Magic right now, and I do think they're gonna have to pick their core at some point soon to really get into this team's contention line. But for all that being said, I love this team. Also, Magic fans, be careful. They're praising Jaylen Suggs now, but they do a lot, and they do turn on the guys that show that much passion and, do the annoying things at some point. They love Lance Stevenson for a while and he was doing it to the Heat, then he got annoying. They're doing it to Dillon Brooks, right? They did it to Dillon Brooks, and it seems like Jaylen Suggs is the next is gonna be the next culprit that's gonna get hit with that. So be prepared. With that being said, this is FLB. That's my time, and I'm out.